You ever watch a superstar athlete and just wonder, how on earth did they do that? How do they pull off these brilliant game-winning decisions in less than a second with the whole world watching? It looks like pure magic, but it's not. It's actually a fascinating battle that's happening right inside their own head.
I mean, really picture it. You're the one stepping up for that penalty kick. The whole championship is riding on it. Or maybe you're staring down a 130-mile-per-hour serve at match point. There's literally no time to think, but you've got to make the perfect call. So how do the greats actually do it?
All right, let's break down that impossible split-second decision. Because what looks like a simple, almost animal instinct is really one of the most complex things your brain can do. And here's the secret. It's not some kind of superpower. It's actually a perfectly managed fight between two completely different systems in the brain. And this is where the science behind it all gets really, really cool. So to really understand this internal battle, we got to look at the incredible work of Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman. He basically figured out that our brain has two different ways of operating, two systems, and each one has its own job, its own strengths, and its own weaknesses.
Let's make it simple. We'll call them the sprinter and the analyst. The sprinter, that's your system 1. It's that lightning-fast, automatic gut feeling. The analyst, well, that's system 2. It's your slow, careful, conscious thought. Now in sports, it seems like the sprinter is running the whole show, right? But is it really that simple?
So let's start with that fast system, with the sprinter. For a world-class athlete, that intuitive reaction isn't just some wild guess. It's something scientists call expert intuition. And it's an incredibly powerful skill that's been trained for years. You know that gut feeling a quarterback gets just before the snap? Or how a tennis player just knows where the serve is going? That's not magic. It's their brain instantly recognizing a pattern that it's seen and solved thousands and thousands of times before. Now, the academic name for this is the Recognition Prime Decision Model. I know, it's a mouthful, but it's a pretty simple idea. It just means experts don't waste time making a list of pros and cons. They see a situation that looks familiar, their brain instantly pulls a good enough solution from this massive mental library, and they just act. So here's how that whole thing works in real time. A point guard sees how the defense is set up. That's the pattern. His brain immediately remembers a play that worked against that setup before. That's the solution. And then he makes the pass, almost without even thinking about it. That's the action. It's a three-step dance that happens in milliseconds. So where does that massive library of patterns and solutions even come from? Well, it's built through more than 10,000 hours of what scientists call deliberate practice. And we're not talking about just mindlessly shooting hoops. No, every single drill, every game, every minute spent watching film, it's another entry being logged in the brain's library, making the sprinter smarter and faster every single time.
But, and this is a huge but, what happens when that intuition is just plain wrong? Because it can be. The sprinter is incredibly fast, but it's not always right. And this is where our slow, logical analyst becomes absolutely crucial, even for the best of the best.
I mean, it's a fair question, right? If these athletes have this amazing intuitive supercomputer in their heads, why do we still see them make just baffling mistakes? Well, the answer is in the predictable flaws of our fast-thinking brain, these little traps called cognitive biases.
So for instance, there's something called anchoring. That's where a coach sticks to their original game plan, even when it's obviously not working. Or loss aversion, which basically explains why teams will play super conservatively not to lose a game, instead of playing aggressively to win it. Turns out, the fear of losing is just a way bigger motivator. These are the mental traps the sprinter falls for every time. And you can literally see the price of bad intuition in the data. Look at this research on basketball. When players take just a split second longer to make a more deliberate, high-quality shot, the kind the analyst would totally approve of, their success rate jumps like crazy compared to those rushed, gut-feeling shots. Thinking pays off.
Okay, so this brings us to the whole point of it all, the champion's mindset. It's not about having the fastest gut feeling, and it's not about being the most logical robot on the field. It's about finding that perfect, beautiful balance between the sprinter and the analyst. See, the greatest athletes out there have developed this powerful internal referee. Their analyst knows exactly when to just get out of the way and let the sprinter do its thing. And, maybe even more important, it knows when to step in and say, whoa, 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 wait a second. Let's actually think this through.
Think of it like a cycle. Before the game, the analyst is totally in charge, studying film, learning plays. Then, during the game, the sprinter takes over, running on pure, trained instinct. But then, at a critical timeout or a break in the action, the analyst steps back in to make a key adjustment. And after the game's over, the analyst is back, reviewing everything to make the sprinter even smarter for the next time.
So really, a champion's mind is a partnership. It's not one or the other. It's having a world-class sprinter that's been trained and educated by a super-disciplined analyst who knows when to let go and when to take the controls.
Now, this is all fascinating when we're talking about sports, for sure. But the real power of this idea is how it applies to our own lives, far away from any stadium. Seriously, think about it. That snap judgment you made in a business meeting, that was your sprinter. Deciding to take a deep breath and respond patiently instead of yelling at your kid, that was your analyst stepping in. Every single important choice you make is a little negotiation between these two systems.
In the game of your own life, you're the one making all the calls. And the very first step to making better ones is just recognizing which system is talking and which one should be. So the real question isn't just about how elite athletes think. It's about how are you going to choose to think.